Hey, it's Andre Saucy, and in this video I will be talking about the physical symptoms of social anxiety and how to deal with them. The problem with physical symptoms is that they can be visible to other people, and that makes most people who suffer from social anxiety become very self-conscious in social situations. When you start sweating, blushing, shaking, or experiencing any other physical symptom, you try to hide that. You don't want other people to see it. You don't want other people to see that you're nervous, right? You want to keep it a secret. And the problem with that is that this makes you even more anxious, because now you're not only anxious about this social situation itself, but you're also anxious about your physical symptoms being visible to other people. And that's how these symptoms can become the trigger for even stronger fight, flight, freeze response, and you get even more anxious. So the only real and effective solution is to accept yourself in spite of experiencing these symptoms of social anxiety. It's only after you accept yourself that you can release this anxiety. Because if you don't accept it, you will always try to hide it and you will only get more anxious because of that. You need to release your fear about other people noticing your symptoms, and the way you do that is by embracing the symptoms. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that you will become complacent. You see, some people are actually afraid that if they accept their anxiety and the physical symptoms, that they won't have the motivation to fight their anxiety anymore. They think that they will get stuck with it and that they will never do anything about it. But that's a false interpretation. You see, what you persist resists. What you don't acknowledge and accept, you cannot change. So in order to change, you first need to accept yourself and the symptoms that you experience in stressful social situations. Now, in order to accept and embrace your situation, we need to address and reframe some of your fears about your symptoms being visible to other people. One of the more common fears is the fear that people will notice your physical symptoms and comment on them. So, what if they make a comment? Would that really be that bad? It's not going to be the end of the world, you know. They probably won't even notice it. And if they do, they most likely won't say a thing. But if they do, it's only going to take a few seconds, and then the conversation will change its path and everyone will forget about it. But what if they don't forget about it? What if they remember you blushing or sweating or showing any other physical symptom of your social anxiety? Well, they won't. This is not something that they would want to remember. It's just not significant enough to them. You see, most of us have very busy lives and we forget these kind of things very quickly, you know. But let's just say that they don't forget. What's the worst thing about it? Would they make fun of you? Would they think less of you? Or would they tell this to someone else that you like and you don't want them to find out? Well, these concerns can really paralyze you and make you even more anxious. So we really need to address them. So let's start with them making fun of you. Let's just say that this happens. Now what? What would happen? Would that really be the end of the world? Sure, you'd probably feel embarrassed and ashamed, but would that really be the end of the world? Or do you think that you could get over it? Because I know you could get over it, you know? I'm sure that at some point in life, something like that has already happened to you. It might have even started your social anxiety. But you're still here, right? You survived that. And the older that you get, the less likely this is going to happen again. Because most people grow up and they stop making fun of other people. And those that don't stop have real issues themselves. So, when a grown-up person makes fun of you, just realize that they have a bigger problem than you have. Their self-esteem is probably non-existent. So don't worry about a possibility of other people making fun of you because of your physical symptoms of social anxiety. It's very unlikely to happen, and if it does happen, you will be able to handle it. Now, what about the fear of a possibility of them not liking you anymore and feeling less of you? Well, it's just another irrational fear, not an uncommon one, but still irrational. Sure, this might happen. Sure, they might think less of you. But this again tells more about them than it tells about you. If they don't accept you for who you are, or they even exclude you from their company, it's their loss, it's their problem, because they are missing out on having you around. And you know what? If your physical symptoms bother them, they probably have their own issues, and they actually need other people to have problems in order for them to feel good. Again, you have no reason to feel inferior at all. But what if they tell someone that you like about what happened? What if they tell them about your symptoms? What would happen? Do you think that this person would stop liking you back because of your anxiety symptoms? Do you think you'd lose your chances with that person? Would your chances of someday being together with them be ruined? Well, maybe, you never know, but I can assure you that this is very unlikely to happen. If someone you like already likes you back, that person won't stop liking you just because someone told them that you have experienced these social anxiety symptoms. It just won't happen. And if he or she wouldn't want to hang out with you anymore, just because of that, because of your symptoms, then you wouldn't really want to be with that person, right? You wouldn't want to be with someone that is so shallow. So, to sum it up, these worst case scenarios are very unlikely to happen. And if they did, you'd be able to handle them. So stop worrying about your physical manifestation of your social anxiety being visible to other people. Most of the time it's not, and when it is, people don't pay too much attention to that. And when they do, they usually don't say anything about it. And when they do say something, it's very likely that they do it because they care. So accept yourself, accept that you have these symptoms, and accept that there's nothing wrong with having them. These symptoms are just your body's reaction to a stressful social situation. It's just a reaction that wants to warn you about some perceived danger. It's your survival mechanism kicking in, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a little bit too cautious, and it warns you about danger when there's no real danger for you. But at least it's working, and you can do something about it in the future. So accept it and stop worrying about other people seeing you anxious. You don't have to hide it. Now, I really hope that you've enjoyed watching this video and that you found it helpful. If you did, please go to socialanxietyadvice.com/symptoms and leave your comment there. I read every single one of them and I answer every question that I get. So if you have any questions, also feel free to express them in the comment section. You can also do it here, but I'm more active on my blog and you will probably get an answer sooner over there, you know. Now, before I end this video, there's one more thing that I want you to check out. Not that long ago, I've published a special holiday episode of my Social Anxiety Advice podcast, where I talked about ways to calm down when your anxiety kicks in. It's well worth checking it out, and you can listen to it at socialanxietyadvice.com/002. Now, that's really it. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and if you did, let me know about it so that I have another reason to keep doing this. Now, until next time, be happy and keep looking forward.